This is day two of the Small Business Foundation Reset series. Um, if you were on with me yesterday, I was letting you know that I actually am testing a new platform. So I am using Riverside compared to using Ecamm, which I was using to stream before with the live series that we have. So if you're here with me now, definitely send me a hello in the chat. I love to, make sure that I am seeing the comments and hearing and either being able to answer now or answering on the replay once I, can circle back and engage with the comments. So I realized yesterday that I had a few people watching on LinkedIn, but I was unable to see your messages. So what I'm going to do is actually what I'm gonna do is actually have my LinkedIn up on the other screen so that I can make sure that for those on LinkedIn, I can see your comments and be able to answer. So we are live streaming to LinkedIn, YouTube, and also Instagram. Hi, Construction Ops Gal. How are you? Um, Pleasure to have you with me today. So I am just kind of making sure we are live in all the places before I get into today's topic. So yesterday what we talked about was more of the foundational, some tools. Okay, great. So I can see and hear everybody as far as well, see all the comments, I should say. Perfect. Yeah, so yesterday we really went through more of that catching, um, more of the foundational piece of it. If you are catching this on the replay and not here with me live, I encourage you still feel free to go ahead and drop your comments, questions, feedback. I love actually going back and being able to see how I can support those who actually took some time to invest into watching or being with me on a live stream. So as I was saying, yesterday we talked about more of the foundational pieces, and today we're going to be talking a little bit more about tools. And I'm just going to kind of go out there and start off by saying that if you are in your small business and you've been feeling overwhelmed, like half of the time, there's a good chance that your tech stack is too complicated. I have a lot of conversations with business owners, either on the one to one or through, intimate events that I host. And a lot of times, the conversation comes up that they feel that they've picked the wrong tool. And I always want to say it's not that you picked the wrong one. It could be just how you're using the tool and how it doesn't fit into the actual workflow that you have. So, what I love to start with is actually setting this motion or this mindset of thinking that you're in a moment right now where, let's face it, there's an AI tool launching like probably every second. Um, and every platform is going to promise you this piece of like automation or saying that there's always a better system or just over promising what they can deliver. And what I tend to see happening is that business owners keep layering tools on top of confusion. And if you were with me live yesterday, um, oh, yes, it's a pleasure to see you. And let me know if I pronounce your name right, Zainab. Yes, super excited to have you here with me live. So, so as I was saying, we talked yesterday about when there is confusion as far as, and I don't even want to use technical terms like workflow and systems. Just really think of the step-by-step processes that it takes to actually create an action or result. When there's confusion there, most of the time business owners don't wake up thinking I need to streamline my processes. You might wake up thinking like, why do I feel so behind? Maybe why do I feel scattered? Or instead of diagnosing the structure, you might be thinking, all right, this one tool, or if I buy this other subscription, that this tool will create clarity. Yesterday, no shade to the planner people. I even said, like, if you buy multiple planners, sometimes we feel like that will help our clarity or being able to actually get things done, when in reality it only amplifies that the foundation is not very solid. So if the foundation is shaky, your tools just makes the shakiness more digital. So I'd love to see. Hey Elaine, how are you? Hello Jordan. Hi there, Iggy Curiosity Shop. Nice to have you here with me live. All right, perfect. So I'm going to keep going. So, as I talked about the framework yesterday, we talked about four systems really that small business owners should have. And so, the framework really is that every small business owner needs four core system, not 17 tools. Hi, brother. How are you? Um, yeah, not 17 tools, really just four systems and we'll go through each one of them. So, the first one that I love to talk about is capture. So, when I talk about capture, I get to thinking of, where do your ideas land? Where do your where do where do your client details go? So it's really this space of having centralization of where all these components go. And if that's unclear and they live in your head, what happens is you then start to feel that mental load that we talked about yesterday as well. So the other piece that kind of ties into that as far as the system is the planning. So when you're now getting clear and those ideas, those tasks, those client details don't live inside your head, you can get into planning. So um, think of that as, how do you decide what matters this week? And if that's unclear, you start to feel behind. Most recently, I'm mostly a digital girly, but most recently I realized that I needed to actually step back and write things down. So I used to have various planners, and then I went to a digital form. But now what I do is like a hybrid approach where I created a template that it helps me with weekly planning. So on top of it, you'll have a side that is for like your events or your committed things that, pretty much are blocked in your calendar as non-negotiables. And then it's a mix of the Eisenhower matrix, where it talks about the important, not urgent, the important, urgent kind of task. I don't take all of them. Like, so I don't have the section where they talk about delegating, and the part that's like non-irrelevant. What I did is actually customized it, because what was more relevant to me, um hey, hey, Kronda, how are you? Yeah, so for me, I also had that top portion at the template, the weekly planning template that had the top priorities, but not only writing the top priorities, but then also having a section where I can kind of like check off, am I doing that top priority on Monday? Am I doing it on Wednesday? So it puts some deadline to that task that needs to be done. And the last piece I had on there, well, actually the second to last. The first part that I wanted to talk about was the section where maybe there's those follow-ups that kind of sit in your head, like, like you're doing one task, but then you're thinking, oh, I need to send that email back to so and so. It gives me a centralized space, because I'm in this phase of feeling that I need to write things down, so it doesn't get lost in my digital ecosystem. And so for those types of things, I have a section for that. I am also, if you followed me in multiple spaces, I talk a lot about health being wealth. And something that I have been treasuring and really realigning myself with is my daily habits. So whether that be something where I'm tracking the amount of movement I'm doing per day, the amount of water intake I have, or hydration, which let me tell you, it has been a struggle. But just thinking of the different daily habits that I'll want to track for that particular week, and it has a little area that you can check off, based on that week, how many times you've accomplished it. Yes, I do have a digital form of this, but I don't know. Lately, it's been so much power in being able to write it down and reflect back to it. So when I talk about the hybrid approach, I do actually do daily planning through my calendar, through my Google Calendar. So I currently have a Google Workspace account through the business, but I migrate all the calendars into there so I could see everything based on the different roles that I play to be able to see everything in one shot. So this alone helps me to really centralize. Similar to how we're talking about capturing the ideas, the task, for client details, I actually use ClickUp for project management, and a myriad of things. But as we're talking about in this particular live and how it relates, um, that capture and planning for me is in this hybrid approach right now in this season of being half writing and half digital. And so when we get into the third type of system that the small business owner will need, it's delivery. So we market and we put out all this, word about the product or service that we're offering, but how are we delivering that to the clients based on what we said we would deliver? So how does a client move through your process? And yes, we could get all fancy. I actually had a one-on-one coaching session with a client where we spoke about different tools as far as a CRM, which is your customer relationship management tool. And to be honest, as much as I talk about that tool, and I love them, by the way, but there are different levels to it. And each one, again, with not understanding what you need, you may pick the wrong one. And the worst thing you could do is invest so much money into a tool that you never even use. So I say that to the simplest form, that how you move clients through your process could be in some structured form of a Google spreadsheet, maybe even using something like Airtable, which is, I love to explain it like, it's almost like a Google Excel spreadsheet and like an Access database had a baby and they merged together. But it's just a beefed up way, in my opinion, to be able to kind of expand on the just the data that you're collecting, the data storage, how you see it, how you're being able to use it and move clients through your process. And it just goes back to what I've kind of been honing in on for the past couple lives, is that if that's unclear, things start to feel heavier than they really should for you in business. The last piece that I'll touch on is follow up. So if you're here with me live, um, feel free to go ahead and drop questions inside the chat. Again, we are live streaming to um, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But let's face it, sometimes the tech is teching. And like I mentioned before, too, I am testing out Riverside for live streams instead of using Ecamm. So, I have the public chat on, but I think I'm not seeing all of them. So I'll take a look at that. But I see that someone in the group chat asked, oh, Kronda is saying someone in her group chat asked AI and then posted the answers she got in a group chat, and that is not the way. Oh, okay, got it. And yes, you're agreeing that Airtable is your wife and mistress. I love it. Yeah, so when we talk, going back to talking about some core reframe about the systems that the small business owner would need, the last but not least is follow up. And I think it's a very underrated or kind of like missed opportunity. But I love to think of it of like, how does money continue moving within your small business? So again, this confusion and having unclear steps or actions can make your revenue feel unpredictable. So now, here's the important part. So, the tool should actually support one of these four. So, if you can't clearly answer what system does this tool support, then that tool might not be necessary. And I'm not anti tech. In fact, I'm a tech girly. I am, definitely here for all the technology that can help us in whether it be saving time, increasing our revenue, or all those things along that line. Hello, Miss Booked and Busy Bookkeeping. How are you? Yeah, so I'm definitely for tech, but what I have seen in the industry is that a lot of business owners are becoming, even in the age of AI, still overwhelmed because they're just kind of gravitating to whatever gets put out. Um, Okay, I see Keith. Oh, you're letting me know StreamYard is a great platform as well. Yes, I've definitely used StreamYard in the past. I'll have to recircle, but I actually liked the features inside of Riverside because um, the fact that I can also edit inside of there and do quite a myriad of things. But I will definitely check that out. All right. And I definitely thank you guys for being so engaged. I see some tool suggestions popping into the chat too. So if you're on LinkedIn, there was a tool shared, but I'll share it because again, we're streaming on Instagram and YouTube. So I want to make sure I share that there. So there was a post, or I'm sorry, a comment shared that Kronda uses Puzzle to track which tools are doing what jobs and among other things. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, perfect. So now that we've gone through pretty much those four frameworks, I want to actually get into this point of like, I know a lot of business owners will have multiple like project management tools. They'll be trying different CRMs, notes apps, and AI kind of layered everywhere and anywhere. But keep thinking back to if your workflow is chaotic or your steps are chaotic or you're not even sure what they are, then nothing sticks. It's really all about simplifying and not just for the aesthetics of like saying, oh, I'm using XYZ. So I want you to really embrace that mindset of sometimes it's literally going back to foundations and finding the thing that's even the simplest. In fact, I myself recently have been maximizing on my Google Workspace account to make sure that what I'm already paying for, that I'm not duplicating or overlapping with things just because. In fact, there are some great AI like creative tools inside of Google Workspace, like to create graphics, to even use Gemini in your email. In fact, that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, is using Gemini as your chief of staff. And so I'll leave you with this so that before you buy anything new, I really want you to like take a look at your tools and ask, which of the four systems that we talked about today are the tools actually supporting. And if you can't answer it quickly, I want you to pause. I want you to, really maybe even put a little star next to it. Or if you're on, a digital document, maybe like make it bold or something. Tomorrow, we're actually going to be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there, I'll actually be talking about using AI intentionally, specifically around Gemini, inside really this framework that we're talking about, small business foundational reset. We'll be talking about Gemini and how that AI feature is already integrated in what most of you already use. Hello, Ellie Productions. How are you? What most of us already are paying for as small business owners in your G Suite or Google Workspace account, whichever name you interchangeably use. So I want us to actually go through now that uh, the first live stream was more so of that foundational piece. We talked a little bit about tools today, and then tomorrow we'll get into some practical implementation. So I hope this was helpful. Again, if you're watching this on the replay, you can feel free to drop a comment, whether you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Instagram. You can feel free to drop a comment. I love circling back and being able to just really engage. This period of going live is really having dialogue and connecting with my audience to be able to really understand the challenges and even get some feedback from you. Just seeing what may be some additional challenges and just create some dialogue, because I think a lot of it too is just not that notion of doing business alone. And whether we're in the same space together, whether it be like physically in the same space, which I will be actually creating some in-person events for those who are based in New Jersey. And so hoping to connect with some of you actually in real life, IRL, right? So I will leave you with that for today, but I will hope to see you again tomorrow for the live stream at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, I'm cheering you on. Love y'all.